Welcome to episode 5 of the Panoptic Gamers podcast. Today will be an extra special episode as we have with us our first guest on the show. Vera and I will be talking with our good friend Jon Bindbeutel about casual gaming versus hardcore gaming. And don't forget to visit us online at snap2cover.com. That's snap, the number 2, cover.com. And be sure to check out the new site layout and our new recent uploaded stream of Unhallowed Metropolis. Thanks, and enjoy the show. Alright, so we're live. Do you want to introduce yourself at all? Like, give a short little introduction?
Sure.
No, dude, we should be introducing him at first, and then he can say his little high shit.
You know,
High shit?
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys!
Hey guys.
Hey, guys!
Yeah, pretty much, man. Well, welcome. This is a new episode. Whatever. I did not. I don't know how to do introductions. We don't do introductions. We just go into the shit.
This week on Panoptic Gamers, Jon Bindbeutel.
Guest starring this guy that nobody knows, Jon Bindbeutel.
He's known in
I'm a gentleman and a
spheres.
scholar. I will have you know.
Yes.
He's known in many spheres.
I have many leather-bound books.
Yeah.
You do have books.
They're over there.
I don't know about leather, but there are
Some
books. Some of them. A few are. Yes.
So we wanted to talk about some casual gaming versus pro gaming versus regular gaming.
Why don't we start over with that intro? What are you gonna do? Like cut that to pieces?
Probably.
Start an official.
Probably.
Do you want an official intro? Because we can do an official intro.
Just do your weekly intro. You got to say
We
what
don't
it's
do
about.
a weekly intro. We just start talking.
You listen to us? We just
No.
bam.
The reason we do that is because it's more natural to just start talking.
All right. No, I'm not saying like an intro. Just be like this week, But I guess you kind of just get to.
Well, I was gonna,
Well,
but then
so this is
you interrupted me.
This is the thing. This is why I was considering possibly doing a prologue before we do the intro song, because that way suddenly there's this third voice and who's that guy? But what?
Okay.
I like where your head's at, Vera. It's pretty cool. I like that. Wait, there's another voice. Who is it? All right, yeah, let's just go.
Okay.
So basically we're doing casual gaming versus competitive gaming, and what defines this whole concept of hardcore gaming, and why do people differentiate ourselves from being a casual gamer versus a hardcore gamer, and why do we distinguish ourselves that way? If you game, you game. So why are you trying to isolate yourself from other people,
right,
by putting yourself in this category?
I think it's just a way to bust balls, honestly. Part of culture. You got to kind of put the other guy down in a joking manner. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing, but that's sort of how it is.
Filthy casual.
So
I
was giving this a lot of thought actually on my way home from work, and I was thinking the lines between casual gamer and pro gamer and regular gamer are pretty blurred. You can spend maybe 10 minutes on your phone playing Farmville or something like that, and still be a pro gamer.
Yeah, but
it's not really a set defined role that you're going to be in. You can be any.
You mention Farmville, I suddenly cringe. The second you mention it, it's oh my god, no, don't touch that game. It's horrible, And I've never played this game. It's all just hearsay and rumor and the
prejudice.
Fact that and prejudice that I have.
Video game prejudice.
Pretty much.
Unbelievable.
I mean, any game, in my opinion, can be played casual. Almost any game can be played casually, or almost any game can be played really hardcore. You know what I mean? Like, it just depends about your time commitment and the amount of effort that you're going to put into it and what you were trying to get out of it.
And how much you
You know
really
what I mean?
care about how you
Exactly, and
progress.
I was trying to define, just based on the game itself, what would make it a casual game, and it's pretty hard. Like, the only thing I can really talk about is like Triple Town.
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm sure you recognize that game.
I'm familiar.
You ever heard
I'm
of that?
familiar with that
Triple
game.
Town,
Yes,
I've never
my
heard
wife
of it.
loves it.
It's an iPhone game. I think you can get it on Android too. It's like a match. It's like a typical match 3, except the board starts out pretty sparse and empty, and you drop stuff in and match it, but then also you have to spawn like bears that run around, and you have to kill the bears, and it's just a match game, but it's like
Wait,
the graphics are cute and
bears.
they're
Wait.
hoppy, and there's
Wait.
like little tiny people that walk out of houses and kind of like walk around the screen and stuff, and
A match game like Bejeweled.
Yes and
Sort
no.
of.
It's a variation.
With bears.
It's a
that you have
variation.
to kill. And it's cutesy, but you have to kill bears in it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
imagine like a board with a certain amount of X by X squares, and then there are trees in between them, but you have to like join the trees. The shrubs will become bushes, and the bushes will
Grass?
become trees, and then the trees will become forests.
God,
and the
this
forests.
sounds like
So it just like compounds and compounds, and you have to see how far.
2048.
It's exactly like that. Pretty like
Except
what?
with cutesy
more
graphics.
or less like
And
2048.
you have bears that you have to kill.
So the
What
only
was-
difference between Triple Town and 2048 is that instead of moving them like all the way to one side and then to one side and then to another side, you're planting these trees, and they like kind of form together, and then you have to plant another tree, and then it forms together. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
So-
anybody listening can go and download the free version on your iPhone or whatever smartphone you have. There's a free version that you can get and check it out. But the thing is it's so super duper casual. Like, the entire game start to finish is probably like 25 minutes, and you can walk away at any moment. I do it when I take like bathroom breaks at work. It's fit for casual play, but at the same time, it also has like modes in it where you're competing against other people. And I was joking around, messing with it one day, and I tried one, and some dude just destroyed me by like 15 million points, and I'm like, that guy's hardcore for Triple Town. So it's like it's tough to define. Like,
That's true. There's
a scale.
Those games, all those games have leaderboards, and you see these people at the top, and you're like, holy crap! How are they putting this much time and effort into such a stupid game that I spend on the toilet?
How did you hack the gamer gamer screens here?
It's but it's interesting. It's also like these people that play these kinds of games, though, oftentimes, they're the older generation. Like, oftentimes the stereotype fills them like these high scoring people are like, the 60-year-old senior citizen who just kind of chilling out,
Retired.
Retired, and he's got this game. He can go at it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. On the similar note, I was trying to like I said I was trying to define a casual game, like a game that is specifically designed for casual play like that. And this and like Clicker Heroes came to mind, but on the opposite end of the scale, can you really think of a game that just can't be played casually?
Okay, let's stop for a second. Let's put on Clicker Heroes here. Let's discuss this.
Discuss Clicker Heroes.
Anybody who's not aware of Clicker Heroes, it is the next evolution of Cookie Clicker, and it is literally an idling game. You let it go, and it will
Depending on
play.
your builds.
Depending
Okay, stop, because we're getting into this part. Now, the thing is, like, you level up heroes, and they'll do a certain amount of damage per second, and you have to pretty much go over cost versus benefit analysis. And basically, as the game continues, it adds more things, like you have to use cost versus benefit over hero souls, which are like a percentage of DPS, versus spending this type of soul on this ancient that will give you some particular buff that will help you progress through the game, which, by the way, never ends and repeats for eternity. And the point is, the actual interactivity of the game is just decisions. You do no actual thought process when it comes to playing the game.
Very minimal.
There's
your
really not
action-
much clicking, actually. I mean, you pretty
Yes.
much just let it go.
It depends. There's active builds in the game where you can get specific ancients that boost your DPS depending on how long you have remained active, meaning clicking.
Right, but most of the characters that you would buy are characters that just have automatic, clicking to them.
Right, they deal regular DPS as opposed to your click damage, but there are ways where you become active, and there's always the cooldowns, because when you use your in-game cooldowns, you deal more damage for clicking, and it's more than the DPS could actually be once you get to that level.
It's really just
But the idea,
it's really just an
And-
actuary's wet dream.
Bam. The casualist of games, the idling game, and you've just witnessed a hardcore gamer of it right there. Like it is balls to the wall spreadsheets and like decisions and like strategies. You've gone and you've looked up strategy guides and you have calculators. We've talked about this.
just to be fair, I didn't make any of the
You
calculators.
didn't make
They
a calculator, but
existed.
you use these tools
It's been
Yes.
to
done.
help you progress
It's been done.
through this game.
Yeah, and it's
And-
not just me. One of the most casual gamers I have ever met, my wife, who will very casually game, meaning about once every 6 months. I showed her this game, and she was obsessed with it, and then actually lost her save and started again. And now she has her second run going at this game, which is just
Wow.
hilarious to me. Because, I like this game a lot, and I'm spending a lot of time with it. If I suddenly had to start from scratch, there's no way I would be playing this game again.
That's dedication, right?
And so this also brings up another point: is it's largely dependent on the community around you and who is playing with you that dictate whether you actually decide to play this game as much as you do, or at least there's a lot of factors to that. I mean, if none of our friends were playing Clicker Heroes, I wouldn't even be bothered with it. I would not play it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I found out that Stock stopped playing this morning. It was a little disheartening. I was like, oh, man, now I'm in the lead. This is lame. I have no one to chase, but at least I can just stay ahead of you guys.
Yeah, I think that competitive spirit definitely assists with the differentiation between pro and casual. The casual person doesn't care whether or not they're doing better than the next person, and because of that, they can stop any time. They can just play for 5 minutes and then uninstall the game. It doesn't matter to them. So that is more of a casual environment.
That's the other appealing thing about this type of game for me, is because we all sort of evolved from our hardcore gaming days and gain more responsibility and lose more gaming time, and that's totally fine. It's acceptable. It's how life works. But it's frustrating to know that almost any game that I play, Stock can just destroy me at it because he has, just so much more time that he's capable of investing. Whereas this is like, even if I'm not actually there, it's still investing time to a degree. So that was another appeal for me, was being like, well, I know that he can't just outdistance me just because, I have a life.
Yeah, I've pretty much given up on keeping up with Stock.
In anything.
In anything.
Yeah.
Once he gets his mind on something, he does it.
Yep.
This is where Stock gets talked about on the podcast and never knows.
Yep.
I think everybody sort of fluctuates. If you're a gamer, there are some times when you're going to absolutely latch onto something because you love it so much and you'll play it nonstop. And then there's times where you're going to be busy with other stuff and everything's going to take a back burner to real life and stuff like that. What are some of your most hardcore moments in a game in your history? Like, what's a time where you remember you were like, I didn't sleep? Do you guys have stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it was WoW. I played WoW heavily in college, and I definitely spent. There were a couple nights when I spent just gaming all night because I didn't have anything else. I did it with Squino, and hung out with him, and we were just I forget, we were either raiding or just doing dailies and stuff like that. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But anyways, yeah, I definitely wowed it up a lot. Leveled up characters and went nuts.
I mean,
Yeah.
the most recent games that are my weakness are games that often involve crafting. Minecraft was definitely one of them. I remember one of the most fun projects that was actually with you, Benny, where we did the castle. We did a survival mode castle. And
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, we made an entire tunnel to our castle, and then we
The tunnel itself was a feat. It was like 10,000 blocks long. It was insane.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, we made this castle. Now, how are we gonna make it human-proof? And we built a moat of lava, and that ended up taking days because we had to
Carry
scoop the lava.
Scoop the lava up, carry it up. You could only carry like 15 at a time, and then
Yeah, and then things took another turn where I decided I discovered the secrets of red dust, and I discovered that all of my college learnings went into this, and suddenly binary algebra started making sense.
Logic
Especially
switches.
I love that you learned binary algorithms in Minecraft. It's my favorite part. And you went so far as to create self-rebuilding walls. That was we talked about that in a previous show, I'm pretty sure, but that was it's worth mentioning
Self-regenerating
again.
walls.
Yep.
Yeah. And I remember each tower took a day or two to build because it was just so complex.
Dude, is that not like the most amazing college computer science / math class waiting to happen? Like, come on.
I know.
That's true.
It
would be a good class session.
If I were ever a professor, I would totally do that one day. I'm like, okay, guys, we're learning. This class on binary algebra. I want you to build an AND gate in Minecraft.
Yep, I think you should start the class off by saying, all right, well, we're gonna be learning binary algebra, right? You guys are already playing Minecraft
Everybody's
right
like
now.
sad.
You're already playing games right now, so let's boot up Minecraft.
And then it's like your final project is to recreate that 16-bit ACU computer or whatever that was built.
Hey man, so I have a couple of hardcore moments, as I'm sure you're aware. I could talk about WoW easily. I could talk about, the D3 release where me, Squino, and Stock took like a week off of work and just played insane amounts of Diablo. I could talk about those things, but I also wanted to break out of, the actual computer game or even video game genre a little bit. And I was really, really hardcore into Magic for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to the point really, because that was a rare circumstance because none of the rest of you guys were really into it. I mean, Vero, you tagged along with me a couple of times, and Tom was still in the neighborhood, and he would come to a PTQ once in a while. But I was at the point where I was going down to the local card shop and playing and practicing, and then driving within like 3 hours of the house to go to a PTQ to attempt to make it to the Pro Tour circuit and stuff like that. And that was like real dedication to me at the time. I was on like Reddits, and I was on wiki pages, and I was, doing mock drafts and mock sealed tournaments and all that sort of thing, and all that craziness. And I guess what the whole point of it is just that, it seems like if you're a gamer, most of the time you're going to have ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's just going to be like, oh, I haven't left my chair in 18 hours. And sometimes it's going to be like, oh, I haven't touched a computer in 3 days, 6 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this, though. Were there any, is it possible to have a casual Magic experience? Because I know that when I started sort of dabbling in it, I was like, I can't afford the cards. I'm not going to just spend money on a packs that I'm never going to really play all that often. So like I feel like the casual environment in Magic is kind of, small.
I'd say there is. There's a few casual environments in Magic. there's just the guys who have starter decks and just want to learn how to play, and they'll just mess around playing with each other. Or there's like Duels of the Planeswalker, like the the PlayStation game or the computer game. You can play against people on there, and that's just a one-time buy game, and you get the pre-made decks in that, and you can edit them slightly. And then the other thing is a big format that broke into Magic Online, and I think they have them in actual tournaments now too, is called Pauper, which is that you can make a deck. You have to make a deck where no card in the deck is more expensive than like 25 cents.
Okay.
So you have to literally use sort of like the lower tier of card value, so they're not as impressive, but then you rope them all together and you have to try to make a deck that works. And that was like a pretty big thing a few years back. A lot of people were enjoying doing that because you could just jump in on the ground level and actually have a competitive deck and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
I have friends at work who play, what is it called? It's UDH or something. Or it's like Highlander or something like that, where your deck is bigger than a normal Magic deck, but you can only play one ofs. So you can
Commander.
never play. What is it, Commander?
Commander. You have a 100-card deck. You only have you can never have any duplicates in your deck.
Yeah, everything's just a one of,
except for
which
basics.
makes it like makes the deck fluctuate like insane. Like the whole point of competitive Magic is you want to be as consistent as you can, but in this particular type of Magic game, you're not trying to do that. You're just trying to have fun.
But it's interesting because in Commander decks, I play him a lot with my friend Paul, because he owns a bunch of these decks that he's put together, and they oftentimes have like really obscure, expensive cards that you'd never use in any other format, because they never last long enough to get out these expensive cards.
Right.
But you often find yourself using a whole bunch of weird cards that do almost the same thing, so you can get that kind of consistency that you want from the deck. Because that's how wide and varied Magic is, that they make all these kinds of cards and they do almost the same thing, because that's how long it's been out.
I mean, that's just another example too. Like that's a game format that was designed to casually play with friends in a store, and yet people are taking it seriously enough to go through all of the Magic sets and get similar enough cards that they're technically breaking the rules, but not really.
Okay.
So that's just another example of like what really defines casual. It's all about how much time.
But at that point, it becomes more of a pay to win kind of schema, because then you have people who just like dump money into cards that they can build whatever they want and ruin.
Trust me. I'm on your side on this one. It's why I eventually stopped playing. It's just like such an outrageous money sink.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge money sink, and that's one thing I want to argue, is that Magic itself is not a game that caters to casual play. It's gotten such a following, and it's such a huge and profitable game that why would they make it a casual game when people will sink so much money into it? I'd
say that competitive Magic is not casual. But if you were you can buy a deck of Magic cards and just play it with your buddies, and then you're playing Magic casually.
Sure,
like
you can play with friends.
We used to play Magic casually in the city at Cherokee, where we would just, it's 11:30 at night. We've been playing Rock Band for 3 hours. You want to play a game of Magic, and we just crack out a deck.
Well, you can't play casually with anybody, like with strangers. If you want to go out and play
in
community, you just can't do it.
Absolutely,
you can't do it at all.
You just have to focus on poning.
I think that is like the nature of those trading card games, though, because I remember when I was little, Pokemon was a huge thing, and I just started accumulating cards that my friends didn't want or something like that. I would buy a few decks here and there, or a few packs here and there, and then just mess around with it. So I guess I was casualing it a little bit, but at the same time, like right now, I have no use for the cards that I have. And there's no one I know who, plays Pokemon. Not that I would want to play it anymore, again. There's plenty of things I would rather be doing. But again, it's still, that's the nature of trading card games, is you end up getting cards, and then you have them, and then do what you want with them, I guess.
Let's jump into Hearthstone then. So this is like almost a next generation concept to trading card games in general, because it's a completely digitalized game, for one thing. And another thing is that you can earn the cards through quests, and winning you can get gold, which allows you to either buy packs or allows you to play in the arena, which will reward you with packs.
Yeah, you could argue the correct answer to your question, Jeff, can you play Magic casually, would have been yes, you play Hearthstone.
That's true. Well, I would consider Hearthstone more of a hybrid of casual versus hardcore. It's definitely a lot more diverse than any of the actual physical trading card games. Even Magic the Gathering, Duel of the Planeswalker on Steam, I would consider more of a hybrid between casual and hardcore, because of that that entry level. You don't really need money to succeed. You just need either time or money.
Yeah, Hearthstone is the same way. If you start playing Hearthstone, it teaches you how to play, and then you can then drop $50 on it and probably have half of the cards in the game, or you can sit there and grind it out like most of us did, which is just you sit there and you do your daily quests and you gain gold and you play arenas and you win packs and you open packs, and then that just slowly builds your library in the game,
which allows you to actually go into competitive play.
That's true.
Yep.
And it's I gotta give it to Blizzard with their daily quests. It kind of keeps me going in that game when it comes to Hearthstone. It's like, I don't want to really spend too much time, but I end up sinking like at least an hour into the game a day if I have the time for it. Just finishing the daily quests, because after you accumulate 3 quests, then suddenly you won't get any more daily quests, and so you feel like you're kind of just you're burning money if you don't play.
Right.
That's how Blizzard gets you with that little addiction stick.
Yep.
They just poke you with it.
It's very subtle. It's just right in the back of the neck. It's a little prick, and then you just feel better.
And then
I took it really seriously.
Yeah, then they go out with they come out with a expansion pack with a whole bunch of new cards and a whole bunch of new.
Pay $20. We reskinned a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Come on.
Plus, you can get this little horse in WoW.
I took it really seriously, and I really liked the arena aspect of Hearthstone. Like, that was my favorite part about playing Magic competitively, was limited season, which was you didn't bring a pre-made deck within a certain genre of cards. It was literally, you came in, they handed you 6 packs unopened, and you opened them and built a deck on the spot. So that was sort of the most interesting aspect of it for me, because it wasn't just how much money have you sunk into this game, how much time have you spent play testing, that sort of thing. It was more like, do you understand the set really well? Can you throw together a good deck based on 6 random packs quickly and then play it correctly? And that was sort of what really tied me into the competitive Magic part of it, was because that I found that super interesting, because anyone who has tried to play Magic competitively, you play the same deck hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times against every other deck that's regular in the meta, and that's just, it gets so old sometimes, and you just start to lose an edge because you start getting bored, or it's just like, oh, I've seen this 100,000 times. Whereas when you're playing limited, it's like every time you go and play, you have a brand new set of circumstances. It's a new deck to you. You have to figure out all the little facets of it. And Hearthstone does that really well with the arena. I think they could do it a little bit better, but it's good for a start on how it works, which is they just give you pay a buy-in, you pick a hero, and then it gives you 3 cards to choose from, and you pick one, and you do that 30 times, and it makes you a deck.
I think if they didn't have that, it would definitely lend itself more towards the hardcore gamer side of things, because the whole point of deck building is that you have to be aware of how things work with other things, like how cards work with other cards, and and having that kind of end game, I guess, lends itself to looking up strats and looking up specific decks to build, and that can get into the hardcore realm because maybe you don't want to spend an hour on Reddit looking up, how to build the epic awesome squirrel deck or whatever. So,
and that's really the one thing that's kept that game going is the arenas, and it's also for the casual gamers who don't want to spend the money on it, the best way for you to generate packs because you have to do better than 7 wins in the arena, and then you win your gold back, and then you just get the pack for free, which is really actually after like an hour and a half time commitment.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's really what kept the game alive for me and kept me interested. I did attempt to run at Legend, which is the ranked play, trying to go up the ladder. It's just an incredible grind, and it's everything that steered me away from Magic was just playing the same deck over and over against the meta and all that sort of thing, and all the little constructed criticisms and tweaks and understanding every aspect of a particular situation that you're in, all that stuff. It just gave me a headache, and that's why I didn't play Magic competitively past like limited season, because it was just too much memorization, too much time in the chair, so to speak. But that was the best part of Hearthstone, is that they had that arena, but they really just need a little bit more content in that game because there really isn't much there. It's the X pack was cool, and they give you like the little mini game sort of stuff with the bosses you have to fight, but it's literally just arena and ranked play. They need like a third, or they at least need something to make ranked play more enticing, because I feel like a lot of people end up only playing ranked to do daily quests so that they can play arena.
I feel like it would be really fun if they could implement some sort of two-headed giant for that game.
It would be cool. I don't think they could do it on any kind of ranked fashion. It could probably be just like, on the side. But I think I also read in the Reddit that they have no plans to do something like that. So
no, I doubt it.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about League of Legends too, because that falls into the realm of casual versus hardcore.
It's like the
kind of both, though. That's one of those mid.
It's
mid-range.
Definitely both, and I wanna explain why I say that. One thing I want to mention is that I'm still not level 30 yet. I'm actually level 27, and we've been playing since it came out. So there's that.
So sad.
Yeah,
you are the absolute, like, the definition of a casual League of Legends
because
player.
I've only played when you guys have played. That's why I have not leveled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every time we play with Jeff, like, the matchmaking's so much easier on us. It's like, oh, we're winning. Why?
Yeah. But yeah, you get the hardcore gamers. Obviously, they play competitively, and there are HCSs. So
Would you say that League of Legends ruins friendships? At least for a few days. Ruins friendships.
Does it though?
Ruined a few.
We're still friends.
I don't know.
No, I mean not permanently, but like me and Jones were just like at each other's throat for a few days sometimes, because both of us knew how to play the game, and both of us expected certain things of each other, but both of us did not do those things.
The game is no. What it is League is very unforgiving, and it's not unforgiving to the individual player because you rely on a team in that game more than any other game I've ever played. Like, you are relying on your teammates 100% of the time.
Not that we have a large following, but let's just expand this to the MOBA genre, because I mean a lot of people in like Dota 2 will scream at us because compared to like League of Legends, Dota 2 has a lot more to it. Like I believe there's creep denial, and there's so many other things that you have to do in Dota 2, and then they simplified it in League of Legends. And then, if you want to take it another level, they simplified it even further with Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah. The game is simple.
It's stupid simple, but it's also at the same time like, so now you have in League of Legends you have individual like leveling up in XP, and you have items. In Heroes of the Storm, you have a group EXP, so everybody on your team is the same level. And if the other team levels, the entire team is an entire level higher than you. And and it's horrible. It's just like they're just destroying you because they're one level higher, and you're just like you can't engage them. It's such a
right, and there's no items to buy or anything
and there
like
is
that.
no items
You
in
just
this game.
you just put your points into a like a talent tree or whatever it is, and then you get buffs to whatever abilities that you have.
Yeah, MOBAs in general, though, it's the most intricate team play I think I've ever seen in almost any game. And I think that's what lends itself to you sort of have to, if you're trying to be competitive, you have to criticize the people that you're playing with constructively, or attempt to do it constructively. But when you're just getting absolutely destroyed, sometimes it doesn't come across right.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
And then there's a level, like, you want to criticize, but then also there's a level that you get to where that person just can't get better. Like that's it. That's what they can give. And
Yeah.
it does. It's definitely a toxic environment at some points, but you just got to go into it with the right mindset.
So to give an example, Vero and I were playing some Heroes of the Storm yesterday, and we were playing this map where you have to get the like a top station and a bottom station. Two shrines, right? You have to occupy both, and then the middle one will become available, and you have to take that one, and then you get this like super powerful monster that you can just destroy with. So we had
the dragon, right?
So the Dragon Knight. So we had the two, and I was going with my team, one of my teammates, and Vero's yelling at me, "Go south, go south." I'm playing a healer, so if I get destroyed, I can't, like, if I get attacked, I can't do anything about it. So I'm trying to support my teammates, and Vero's yelling at me to go to the mid, and I'm like, I can't really do that. I'm just gonna get destroyed by the other team who's already there. So
yeah, I know. Exactly. I was wicked frustrated in this game because
bringing the quarrel to the podcast. Yeah.
Frustrated. Yeah, and that game, MOBAs often can harbor a lot of frustrations because you're so close to achieving your goal, and it's like the other team just deny. It's just a straight up denial, and you just find yourself completely just smited of all hope.
It's
and you're
PvP
really
at its
frustrated
finest,
about
man.
that. Huh?
It's PvP at its finest. Like in WoW, when you PvP'd in WoW, because that's what it is. It's just like a very large scale player versus player battle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And in WoW, if you got destroyed, you didn't hate on your teammates. That didn't really happen unless you were like sort of like arenas in WoW was sort of like the same thing, because then it was just
but
it was just you, but with regular like WoW battlegrounds, that never happened, and it's just because
there's like 20 of you,
right? I think
exactly.
because the teams were so big that it didn't really make any difference.
You can just sort of, oh well, it must have been everybody else on the team, not my friend.
Yeah.
And then you look at the scoreboard and you just feel like, oh, look at that guy, he sucked, and then you move on, But that's it, with League of Legends, there's 5 of you, and if one of you just does stupid things, it's easy to see, and you just start to think that maybe he's bringing you down,
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
I know this one guy who played League of Legends with me all the time.
I don't even want to do this.
He just loves throwing himself like too aggressively at his opponents, and just ends up with like an insanely bad.
Really, it sounds like you.
Oh, that sounds like me. I don't know what you're talking about. I play recklessly either way.
I mean,
I only throw myself at my League of Legends opponents if I am playing Death Pony.
Yeah, back in the day. No, it's Shyvana too. Back in the day when he actually played Summoner's Rift and not just ARAMs all day.
All day, every day on the reg.
Dude, Summoner's Rift, all day. I wish that you guys still played that. The ARAMs can be fun, but at the same time, it sort of like steals part of the aspect of the game for me.
Oh,
it's like
ARAMs made me love the game. It's
great.
Hated it.
It's great.
I hated League so much because it was just so frustrating to play. But then when they came out with ARAMs, I was like, oh my god, finally a time when I can suck and not be called out for it and be okay.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cared.
But the thing that I hate about ARAMs is there's just team comps where you just lose. Like, you just look at the start screen, and you're like, I'm about to waste 25 minutes.
You're like,
because
all right,
there's no chance.
it's over.
Yeah. That's
but
frustrating to me.
it was actually really interesting. We had we played a game today. I played one right before we started this podcast, and it was four of us were tanky people, and then there was a Karthus on our team. So we had no damage, but we ended up destroying the other team, which had damage dealers. It was really interesting how we pulled that one off. We just took.
They're too squishy.
Yeah, they were
the
too
squishy to damage ratio is the problem. It's like they deal more damage than you do, but your health is better than the amount of damage increase that they do. So you can just get in on them and kill them before they have the opportunity. So it kind of makes sense. I've seen team comps work like that in Summoner's Rift. In actual competitive play the same way, but
I feel like with all that being said, I think MOBAs definitely have the highest spectrum of player base. They definitely have a lot more casuals, like a very broad spectrum of casuals, but as well as the pro gamer circuit with millions of dollars riding on a game.
Yeah, let's also put the point that League of Legends, Hearthstone, all of these games, they're not horrible time sinks, and that's one of the great things about them is you can invest between 20 and 40 minutes into a game, and then you're done.
Right.
Casually. Yeah,
yes.
You can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, every time I want to play a game, I'm like, oh, I can sink in one game. It turns out to be this epic struggle that lasts an hour, and I'm like, this is the longest League of Legends game I've played, and I can't play it right now. I have to go.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really couldn't play all that often, is because if I wanted to play, for a little bit, I can't. I have to dedicate, at least an hour per game, even though I know that one game might not take an hour. You still have to give yourself that time to say, okay, well, it might go that long, so I kind of have to deal with it.
ARAMs are pretty reliably 10 to 30 minutes long, max. 30 minutes is an epically long ARAM.
Yep.
Then there's Dominion, which no one plays ever, but is a reliably 20-minute long game every time.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, what about games like first-person shooters, like Call of Duty or Battlefield 4 or something like that? Do you see that lends itself to any particular group, or do you think that's more
there's definitely hardcore gamers with those, and there's also the stereotype of FPSs being kind of the dude bro community of gamers.
Bro, I raped that guy so bad.
Teabags all around, man.
The Halo world.
Teabag is a skill. It's a skill. No, I mean, I think it's both. I think it's both again. It's like another middle ground type scenario where, you have the guy who bought Call of Duty, played through the campaign mode, and now is just messing around for fun just to watch stuff blow up. And then you have the other people who take it more seriously. Before Call of Duty was Halo, and me and my sophomore college roommate Ryan. Do you remember Ryan Vero?
Yeah.
We took Halo way too seriously, to the point where we would play 2v2 and we would have two TVs next to each other so that we would each have a full screen but be capable of seeing where the other person was.
Yeah, I remember those days. I'd knock on your door. I'm like, hey, Benny, you wanna go out and do something?
we're on a 14-game winning streak, bro. Sorry.
Okay, Benny. We'll see you next week.
Yeah,
and shut the door, and the lights would be off in your room too.
Yeah, you need to see the screen better, bro.
You get the soft,
can't have light glare.
You get the soft glow.
Anyway, point of this story was, Walshy ended up dropping out of college because of all this habit. So
it was wild. I did it. It wasn't Halo.
I feel you're responsible for that. You introduced him to WoW. You gave him the crack.
I would lay that blame at JP and Stock's feet because they introduced me. So
indirectly.
I
took some. I had this cocaine. It was great. You should try some.
Yeah, Squino got me into WoW.
Totally not. I can't be blamed for any of this.
Squino is definitely the pusher.
The courts would beg to differ. Oh,
Squino is the Pied Piper. He's not a pusher. He doesn't have to try. It's not like Squino's ever like, hey guys, you should come play this game that I'm playing. It's not like that works. It's like, hey guys, I'm playing this game, and suddenly all of us are playing that game.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep. Anyways, so yeah, anything else to talk about with casual gaming?
Well, so I want to just kind of go into the fact of competitive nature of games. The games that offer a competitive aspect to it are the ones that can often be a hardcore scenario. You won't find yourself like there's no such thing as like a hardcore Mass Effect player. You know,
I don't know
I
about
mean,
that.
let's stop. Let's stop. There was a multiplayer competitive aspect on Mass Effect 3, but I actually honestly don't really, it's not on the radar. I don't see anyone.
So you're saying
ever
single
playing
player
that.
games generally don't have a hardcore aspect to it?
They generally don't. There's always the corner case exceptions. I mean, you can see those. Have you ever seen like the speed runs of like Super Mario or like, have you ever seen a speed run of Ocarina of Time?
No, because I don't
You know,
waste my
That's
time.
crazy.
well, okay, so
Jeff's too casual.
I
to
mean,
watch
you've
games.
all played the game, right?
Yeah,
Ocarina
of
of
course.
Time.
No.
You
Who
know,
hasn't,
great
though?
game. It was our child. It was like a childhood memory. And you watch a speed run of this game, and your childhood's ruined. Ruined because they take every single flaw in the game and they exploit it and break the game to hell.
Yeah.
And you're just like ruined. I can't.
Well, yeah, like that Mario level where you like break the roof and then you just run along the roof for the entire game, and then that's it.
Oh, I just skipped 40
It's like,
zones.
okay, well,
Sweet.
that kind of defeats the whole purpose of playing Mario. I could just as well not play Mario and do the same thing.
Yeah, so this is why I find speedruns so upsetting. But I mean, if you want to go for hardcore single players, these speedrun guys are like the hardcore version of like single player games. I think, in my opinion.
I think we
True.
should wrap up with the let's have like a PSA announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Don't call your friends casual gamers. It hurts. It hurts. You don't know what your words can do.
Yes, you should just call them filthy casuals.
You know what? Some people are proud of being casuals, okay?
And those people don't shower.
Because they're filthy. Is that
Yes.
what you're implying?
I see how it is, Vero.
You don't have to deconstruct the joke.
You can play a game casually. You can play a game hardcore. The idea is, play the game however you want to play it. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Have fun.
So, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Pwn noobs.
If you can.
When there's noobs to pwn.
Yeah.
You know.